Hey engagement fans, welcome back to the Engagement Studio. I am Megan Mislanka, and today with me I have a very special guest, Cheri Sagona from Safelite. She is the Assistant Vice President over Culture and Communication and really leads the charge for driving engagement and improving the associate experience at Safelite. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So at Quantum Workplace, we really focus on software that helps empower your managers and creates that culture that is a people-first culture. And so today we're going to give you some advice about how to foster that culture in the lens of HR, manager, and just overall potential impact. So Cheri, when you think about creating a people-first culture, what advice do you have for HR leaders and departments in any organization?
I would say to create a great people-first culture in an organization, I would start with three things. The first thing is gain alignment with your owners, with your board, with your senior leaders on what that's going to look like for your organization, down to the definition of what people first means for you. And then look at all your policies and programs and if there's things you need to align to make that happen. The second thing would be to communicate. Communicate any change in expectations to the leaders, any changes in policies, behaviors, or values that you want them to demonstrate as part of this new change. Also communicate to associates. What can they expect as associates as part of a people-centric organization? What are they going to feel? What are they going to be a part of? And the third thing is walk the talk. If you can't demonstrate that you're going to behave in a way that you say you're going to behave related to being a people-centered organization, then skip step 1 and 2.
That's great advice. I think a lot of organizations unfortunately fail with that third step, really kind of demonstrating and walking that talk. Absolutely. So that's great advice for HR and leadership. What about for managers, those individuals that really are tasked with the frontline delivery of that people-first culture? What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, that's hard. My biggest advice for managers would be to be a leader, not a boss. I recognize there is a lot of managerial tasks, direction that you're trying to give, and leaders give that too. The difference between a good leader and a boss is someone who also inspires, builds trust, builds relationships, really gets to know their associates, the people who work for them, and even their families. And when we see associates get engaged in that way, they want to go above and beyond what's expected because they feel connected to that leader.
That's great advice. It's almost kind of funny because sometimes when we work with organizations, we have to remind managers to be a human, right? Yeah, to care about your people, but it is sometimes just that as to be a good leader.
That's right.
So you've got some good high-level advice for managers and HR and your leadership teams. What example do you have at Safelite where your people-first culture really made an impact to get those results, or it kind of changed the way you took action on a situation?
Absolutely. So a perfect example is an operational challenge we were having. We were seeing in some of our regions our decline in productivity, in quality, and in customer metrics. And senior leaders had a point of view of what they thought they could do. Right? We always do. But instead, they took the problem out to the leaders in those regions. They held meetings, they explained the situation, and they allowed those leaders to come up with and identify problem solutions. And eventually, they created plans and they actually owned it. And so what we've seen as a result of that people-centered approach and letting the leaders own the problem solving, they've actually seen good results in those regions. And we just decided to roll out that same approach to other regions where we're seeing the same problems.
Yeah, that's an awesome example, really taking it from a few people who made the decision to that broader group, driving ownership and accountability all the way through the organization. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. That's a wrap on how to create that people-first culture. Again, Cheri Sagona from Safelite. I'm Megan Mislanka. Now let's go make work better every day. Thanks.